Welcome to another exciting edition of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Paper Guy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
Do you notice sometimes there are exciting episodes and sometimes there are exciting editions?
Okay.
Do you ever notice that?
Sure.
And that way when we do merch, we can get both of them. See, thinking way ahead there.
Way ahead.
Way ahead. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, what are we talking about today? Whoa, that guy looks like he's having some
someone
trouble. That looks like he's having some trouble.
Butt. I think I had one of those signs before.
Probably did. So basically today we're talking about something or other that will help you not only online for your sales, not only for that, but also in life in general. And it's pretty simple. Slow down. And there's a couple of different ways to approach this. Let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever had it where you have a deadline? You have to get out the door at 8 o'clock in the morning and it's 7:35 and you want to get all the things printed,
Yep.
and
Every day.
and what ends up happening sometimes?
I generally make the deadline, but I'm always in a rush and I'm always flustered and I'm worried about being behind or making a mistake.
And of course, that's when the printer jams.
Yeah.
Because, and why did the printer jam? Because you loaded the paper in a hurry. You go, oh, geez, I'm out of paper. And so you kind of throw it in and it's a little sideways and then the printer jams.
Sure.
And that's one of those when your employee comes to you a while afterwards and says, hey, how come this has, first class shipping on it when it could have went media? And you're going, oh, geez, I could have done that. I cost myself money.
Yeah.
And it's not just, when you have a deadline, it's day to day as well.
Right.
I don't know if you remember, but a while back, many years ago, we were talking, and I had tried to put a price on for you the number of times, what it costs you every time you touch an email.
Right.
And, the back and the forth with it, as opposed to carving out the time to solve the problem right away, because again, every time you touch the email, you read it, you're wasting time getting into the email, figuring out what it is. You go research prior emails, etc. And it's across the board. Trying to find items, you sit there and you say, I'm not going to look at pictures, I'm going to find these items without it.
Right.
And then you end up spending 15 minutes looking for something, not finding it, come back, look at a picture, and you say, oh, it was right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
it
so
happens
on
all the time. Yeah.
And even on the buying, I mean, not that you want to, somebody comes in with a lot of stuff, not that you want to go through with every item that they have, but you sit there and you start looking through and you go, oh, yeah, I'll buy this. And then later on you notice that, the magazines are clipped because you didn't check those.
Yeah.
And so on and so on. So what have you done to kind of try to slow down as best you can? I know it's tough because there's so many.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I try. I don't know if I'm successful at it, but definitely gotta. I take lots of notes. I'm definitely forgetful throughout the day. My manager seems to be like me and reminds me sometimes. So I'll email myself or text myself or put it in a Post-it so I don't forget. And I'm not saying I'm 100%, but I'm definitely better than I was.
Oh, lists definitely are. And for me, I feel overwhelmed at times. But then when I make a list, it suddenly makes it less overwhelming. Because when you've got 15 to 20 things that you have to do, and they're all there, if you write them all down, then at least you're not going to forget something.
Right.
You're not going to rush through things, and you can kind of see and you can formulate a plan because you got them all listed right there.
Gotcha.
Now, how in depth are your lists?
No, usually I put my most important things I got to do every day down, and I got to make sure they get done. The little things can wait. I got certain notes I do for eBay. If I got to do relists, if I got to send offers, so that's a separate daily note I got to do. And then new things that come up if it's a meeting, if I got to go somewhere. And matter of fact, I forgot the other day I had a meeting with the T-shirt and label guy for Friday, so I'll have to reschedule that for this week coming up. But yeah, I mean, I don't put a million things down. I do have older sheets that have a million things on them. I never get to half of them. So I try to do the important things, pay this bill, meet this person. This person's coming in at 11 to sell me something. So anything that's important in my business, like a top 5, I make sure I get them done every day.
Well, can I tell you a little trick that I use?
Sure.
I make the list a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. So say you have those top 5. I might have 8 things on the list, but do you know why?
Why?
3 of the things are very, very easy. I mean, to the point of take the garbage out.
Yeah.
because that way I feel like I'm making
Accomplish
progress.
something.
I'm
Right,
accomplishing.
yeah.
Hey, I had
Yeah.
8 things on the list, and 3 of them are done already.
Yeah.
Take out garbage, done.
Right.
Make list, done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put paper and printer, done. Gee, all I have left is add item specifics to 30,000 items. That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
Almost done.
Perfect.
But these are things that you end up needing to do to make yourself not feel like you're completely overwhelmed, because when you're overwhelmed, that's when you rush.
Yeah.
And when you rush, generally speaking, bad things happen. You're late to a meeting, so what do you do a lot of times? What do you do to try to get there on time?
Well, I actually will write the time earlier then. So if a guy's coming at 11, I'll write down 10:45 or 10:30. Make sure I'm not, at my warehouse taking too long with someone else, and I get there at 11:05. So I'll make sure I get there before than after.
See, and I guess I was going for, which a lot of people do. You're here, you have an 11 o'clock over at the store. How long is the drive usually?
10 minutes.
You leave with 7 minutes left. Well, of course, you're going to hit every light, because that's
Right.
just the way things
Yeah.
work. So what do you end up doing? You end up speeding. You
Yeah.
end up going too fast, and especially in the wintertime where you leave the 10-minute spot, but you should have left 15.
Yeah.
You end up in an accident, you end up with a ticket, you end up with,
Sure.
bad things end up happening when you're trying to rush.
Yeah, I did have an appointment with a gentleman selling me toys the other day, and he can only do it at 10 o'clock. Usually 10:30 is good for me. By the time I leave the warehouse, I got a comfortable drive. I get there at 10:30. He goes, no, it's got to be 10 o'clock. So I said, okay. I made my note. The manager told me. And then 9:45, oh, he's here. I go, well, it was at 10. I'm leaving shortly, so I got there right at 10. But then I felt like I had to rush because he's there waiting, and not that he's going to leave, but it's
Right,
just,
he'll be upset. He'll be this, he'll be that. Yep.
I had to shoot out there earlier than expected, but made it work.
And another thing that I wanted to mention, and this has happened to you in the past, and it kind of happens with the poolers sometimes. They're in a hurry,
Oh, absolutely.
and which is a tough spot for you as a manager, because you do have to put some kind of quota on them.
Right.
What did you do today? Oh, I found an item. You worked 8 hours and you found one item.
Right.
But I'm certain it's the right item.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there have to be some kind of quotas on them,
Yeah.
but the quotas have to also be realistic for what they're doing, so that
Sure.
they're not rushing.
Right.
Because what ends up happening, and I know this has happened to you before, is, and I'm going to make this up because I'm not exactly sure what in fact, I do know kind of what happens, is you've got those fire trucks, code
Code 3.
3 fire
Yeah.
trucks, and they're all at different values,
Right.
and a lot of them look similar.
Yeah.
As far as you know, did they do multiples for the same city?
I'm sure they did. I know
Okay.
for the same state, they have different cities for the state, and I'm pretty sure multiples for the
Okay.
city too.
So let's say that they did Code 3 Philadelphia, and they did and they're all fire trucks, correct?
Yep.
So they did a tanker, and then they did an old style one.
Right.
And say the old style one is worth $100 and a tanker is worth $50.
Right.
So it sells,
And they're both in the same box.
and they're both in the same box.
Yep.
And the pooler goes, oh, I'm looking for Code 3 Philadelphia. Here it is. And he sends it out.
Right.
And he sends, let's say, he sends the $50 one out first to the person that wins the $100 one. What is that person going to do?
Not be happy.
Say he sends the $100 one out to the person that wins the $50 one.
Right.
What is that person going to do from time to time?
They could keep the item.
Yeah,
'cause if
they
know
stay
it's better,
quiet.
Or, oh, this is the rare one. Wow, I'm going to keep this one. Exactly.
Or, hey, I need both of them. This isn't exactly
Right.
what I ordered, but cool. I mean, whatever.
right.
And they keep it.
Yeah.
So now at this point, you've got the box that had a $50 and $100 item in there.
Mm-hmm.
You sold the 50 but shipped the 100.
Right.
So now you only have the $50 item left.
Yeah.
Somebody else 6 months from now wins it. They get the $50 item when they're supposed to get the $100 item.
Right.
What is their first reaction when they get it?
Well, they're not going to be happy.
Not only not
And
happy.
they could think it's a lot of people think
Yep.
I'm scamming. You're
Yep.
scamming. You put the $100 one up, but sell me the $50 one.
Yep.
I'm going to contact eBay or Amazon or whatever. It's like, it's just a mistake. Look at our track record. They never care about that at all. Like, they don't realize, oh, you've been on eBay 25 years, and you're scamming people for 25 years, or this is the first time I've scammed. They don't think logically.
Well, I think to address that issue, I think what part of that might be is a lot of people, they don't understand larger operations. And so in their mind, you're me working out of the basement, and you've got 10 boxes worth of items.
Right.
And how could you screw this up with 10 boxes worth of items? They're not thinking you've got employees, you've got a warehouse, you've got this, you've got that.
Yeah.
So they're just they're not viewing you as a larger company. They're viewing you as because they sold a few items on eBay and they would never make this mistake.
Right, exactly.
Which is true, and the mistake shouldn't be made, but it does happen.
Yeah.
So they're looking at it that I would never make this mistake.
Right.
And that's good, and I'm happy, and I'm glad, and no one should make the mistake. But it's a little different when you've got 50 items listed and you're sending out 2 a day.
Right.
You can actually, if you're sending 2 items out a day, you can actually take the time
Sure.
to look at every item and make sure and clean it all up before you send it out. And oh my goodness, and et cetera, et cetera. You're more of a volume seller, and so when you're a volume seller, you've got a different situation than when you're a one-man. I mean, I've got a different situation than you do.
Yeah.
Ultimately, obviously, any problems that happen with either of our businesses, they fall back on us.
Right.
Obviously. That being said, the wrong item goes out, a bad listing. Who am I blaming? Well, I can blame anybody I want, but whose fault is it?
It's on me.
It's my fault
Right.
completely because I'm the one that listed it. I'm the one that pulled the wrong item. I'm the one that packed it terribly, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Even though it's on you, there's a lot of other people, a lot of moving parts. A lot of other people could have made the mistake, and then you
Exactly.
need to
Yeah.
sit back and say, why did this happen?
Yeah.
And often one of the reasons why is the rushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really, truly is the rushing.
Definitely. Especially in the summertime, they all want to get out of here and enjoy the weather and the weekends as well. Or if it's football season, got to be done by 1. Got to got to catch the Bills game or whatever. So definitely happens a lot.
Well, the other part of that is it also happens a lot over the Christmas season for a different reason.
Well, yeah, tons of orders. They want to get them done because if they don't, tons of orders tomorrow and the next day. So yeah.
Yeah, so you've got the volume issue as well, and unfortunately, the short and easy answer that somebody's going to say is, we'll just hire more people for the holidays. But as we've talked about on the live shows, if you haven't seen the live shows, check them out. 7:30 Eastern every Wednesday. Most interactive live show for reselling there is out there. You have a lot of fun. As we've talked on the live shows, it's impossible to find somebody right now.
Yeah. If you can, it's generally not a really good worker.
It's funny because I actually had this conversation with somebody the other day at my day job that if you don't have a job right now in Rochester, there's 3 legitimate reasons why. You just turned the age where you can work. You were retired and you want to re-enter the job force, or you just moved here. Those 3 reasons, okay, you don't have a job, now you're looking for one.
Right.
Anybody else that doesn't have a job right now, there's probably a reason why they don't have a job right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They don't show up on time. They want to get paid a ton of money. They have an attitude issue, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of the situation right now.
Yeah.
So it's very, very difficult to find somebody that's going to show up, do a good job,
Right.
and be happy. It's just
You need someone that
difficult.
needs the job and wants the job, really. They'll work and do a good job, And you remember those letters you typed up for my laundromat? Mm-hmm. We put them up like a week ago, and guess how many people responded?
Well, given that you're asking me, I'm going to say 0.
You are correct. Yeah. 0 response.
But again, that's good thinking outside the box by you
Yeah.
to do it. And you never know. At some point, somebody may come in and decide that they want something other on the side.
Sure.
So hopefully this has helped you a little bit. Slow down. I mean, that really is what it comes down to, because when you go fast, you think you're doing a good job, but you're not. You're listing the things and you're cutting corners. You're not listing all the damage. You're not listing something in the magazine that you should list. Your keywords aren't proper because you're thinking, well, I've got this stack of 20, I just have to get done.
Right.
So you're not doing good keywords. You're not doing accurate conditions. You're not putting up good pictures. And I know I had that problem back before I did scanners. I used to take pictures with the camera, and I was in a hurry.
Right.
And some of the pictures literally are blurry.
Yeah.
Because it's like you take the picture, you pull the next one, well, the camera doesn't quite angle in on it, and you're ready to hit and take the picture. And I'm like, that's good enough.
Yeah.
I've got to get these done. I got to get these listed. That's good enough. Somebody can tell what it is. And, obviously it takes forever to sell because you have a really, really bad picture on it.
Sure.
And it goes from the listing to the packing. You pull the wrong item.
Right.
How many times has this happened? And we don't actually know how often it's happened, but I guarantee you it has. They're in a hurry to pull a magazine out of a box, and they grab it and start to lift it up, but they kind of grab part of the next magazine as well and rip the cover from the next magazine, or they pull a handful out and they just throw them back in and they get damaged there.
You get orders missing on the shelf, orders pulled but not put on the shelf to pack, and it's in the warehouse somewhere missing. Yeah.
Or the order sheets are left back there because they're in a hurry.
Yeah. The orders were swapped on the sheets. I mean, we've seen it all over the years.
All the way into the packer. The packer sits there and he does it quick, and he doesn't take the time to check that, hey, is this order right? It doesn't match up the order. Doesn't match up the address they're sending the things out to, et cetera, et cetera.
Different volumes. I just had a book one. Hey, I ordered volume 1. I got volume 2. They look almost identical, but one's volume 2 that they bought, not the volume 1. So now you got to deal with the return and sending the correct item. And it never stops. I mean, we're never going to be perfect no matter what.
No, right. But I guess you do your best, but you also have to definitely slow down, because going fast in the end is going to cost you money. So do hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, comment down below about tips that you use to allow you to handle everything that's going on, to allow you to slow down. Because again, when you feel overwhelmed and you've got 500 things to do, it's human nature. You rush through a lot of them. Yeah. So, but it isn't necessarily as simple as we'll schedule less. That doesn't necessarily happen. That gentleman wanted to come in to sell you the stuff. You couldn't say, well, I'm looking at my calendar here. I have an opening October 3rd. Will that work for you? Not necessarily going to work. Yeah. So, you have to do what you have to do, and you can't exactly tell the people that ordered from you, hey, I appreciate your order. We're a little low right now on workers. We'll get your order out in about 2 months. Does that work? So there are things you absolutely have to do, but slow down as best you can within them, and you'll be definitely happy that you've done so. We'll see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.